I'm Bob Digby and I've come to London today to talk to Pearson Edexcel and their team about our up and coming network events for geography teachers in 2019. Network events are free to attend meetings held by Pearson Edexcel for teachers of their geography specifications. At those meetings, teachers receive feedback on the previous year's exams, but also discuss ways of teaching and learning in order to help better prepare their students. Network events that we've held so far have proved really successful, so I'm here to talk about the next phase and planning those events with the Pearson Edexcel geography team. I'm here rather early, so let me get a coffee and I'll tell you all about it. Thank you. Last term, over 300 teachers registered to come on our network events. They were held in 14 locations across the country and online. And during those, we were glad to get feedback to hear about students are enjoying the course, how much they love its contemporary nature, its issues-based approach, helping them to make sense of the world. But we were also glad to get teachers' feedback about the first cycle of examinations. And I'm going to give you some feedback about the things that we found out, and I'm going to start with grade boundaries. Let me tell you a little bit about these. This slide shows the marks needed by each student to reach a particular grade in June 2018. There are no longer any individual unitised grades or boundaries as there were under the legacy specification. It's now the total raw mark that decides a student's grade. As you see, the boundary for the A-star grade was 270 out of 350. That's about 77%. Although these marks are slightly lower than under the legacy specification, half of the assessed topics used to be at AS level rather than the more challenging A level. All examinations now are assessed at that A level standard. One of the other concerns that came up at the network events concerned timing in the examinations. Teachers were concerned that some of their students had spent too long writing the 4, 6 and 8 mark questions and also had spent too long on the 12 mark tectonic hazards question. As a result, we've put together a few timing recommendations that have come out of teachers' discussions at the network events. This is the guidance that we offer for students. Each of papers 1 and 2 is 135 minutes for 105 marks, and we recommend that candidates split their time as shown here. You'll see that we recommend 20 minutes for section A in paper 1, 50 minutes in section B, and an hour for section C. If students stick to that, it still allows them 5 additional minutes checking time at the end of the examination. With paper 2, the mark distribution is slightly different, and so we recommend the following timings. In section A on globalisation and superpowers, we recommend a total of 40 minutes. That's 2 lots of 20 minutes for those topics. Section B, we recommend 45 minutes, and section C, 50 minutes. That should still allow students a few minutes at the end checking time. One of the things that teachers were most keen to discuss at the network events concerned preparing students for essay questions which use the command words assess and evaluate. These are a real challenge for students, and teachers are keen to discuss about the ways in which they prepare their students and how students might best be in a position to write evaluatively in the examination situations. Commonly used by many teachers is something known as the PEEL model: point, evidence, explanation and linking back to the question. And I want to explain to you how that might work in an examination situation. We're using this example of the tectonic hazards 12 mark essay question to show you the link between PEEL and the assessment objectives in examination questions. P is the point, that is, it's the first reason in the argument to answer this question, assessing why some communities are more vulnerable than others to tectonic hazards. It might be governance, for example. Because it's part of the argument, that means the P, the point, is AO2. E, the evidence, is the evidence that students give to support the point. It needs to be a sentence or so, probably not much more. Long case studies and examples aren't needed. In this case, candidates might show how poor governance in Haiti meant that the population was highly vulnerable to tectonic hazards. So evidence is therefore AO1. The second E is explanation. This is where candidates explain the ways in which poor governance had made the population of Haiti vulnerable. So it's part of their argument. And because it's part of the argument, that means that explanation is AO2. Finally, the student needs to link or refer back to the question. Having made their point, the candidate concludes the paragraph to show how serious this particular reason is in explaining why some communities are more vulnerable than others. Linking back to the question is therefore also AO2. Mark schemes sometimes refer to this part as ongoing evaluation, and it's an essential quality to help students reach the higher levels of the mark scheme. So for a 12-mark answer, in every paragraph, the balance is heavily towards AO2, just like it is in the mark scheme. 3 paragraphs are probably enough for 12-mark questions like this one. Remember that candidates should not overwrite on this question. 3 factors, fully discussed and evidenced, will be enough for 12 marks. These network events have been really useful and enjoyable. They've been useful and enjoyable too for the Pearson Edexcel geography team. Hopefully they've been useful and enjoyable for the teachers who came along as well. All those materials from autumn 2018 you can find online on the Pearson Edexcel geography website. Future events are going to be held as well. They'll be free, they'll be held in twilight time, and they count as 2 hours training. Those materials and details about them will also be on Pearson Edexcel's geography website. Those sessions need some planning. Speaking of which, I'm late for a meeting. I better go.